Hello everyone, welcome to Cukmekerb's coding class. Today, I'm talking about why the Steam Deck is great for everyone, even if you don't plan on buying one like me. Now, you probably already have heard about the Steam Deck because everyone's been talking about it, but in case you're living under a rock, the Steam Deck is a console made by Steam. It runs a new version of SteamOS that's based on Arch Linux rather than Debian, and it can run, according to their website, all Windows games on Steam. And it's got a new AMD CPU, and as you can see, it looks similar to the Nintendo Switch. So, this is why it's great if you are a console user, regardless of whether or not you are getting the Steam Deck. First of all, it brings new competition to the console market. It's doing quite a few things that consoles aren't doing as of yet. And if you don't plan on getting one, it will force other consoles to improve because it brings in features that none of the other consoles, no Xbox, no Switch, no PlayStation has. Look at this thing. This is the brand new Nintendo Switch, OLED, which is literally what the Switch would have looked like if it had come out 2 years later. There is nothing special about it. It brings nothing new to the table, and it's the same thing but shinier. Just like the PS5, okay? The PS5 is basically just the PS4, but with better CPU, better graphics. Everything is just upgraded, but there's nothing really new about it, you know? Now, here are some console-relevant features if you do plan on getting it. Or even if you don't, I guess they could end up coming to new consoles in the future to compete with the Steam Deck. The ability to play non-console games. Obviously, I already mentioned this. It can play every Windows game on Steam. That's a big deal. Mods. Consoles don't really let you do mods, so, this does. It's Steam, and it's also Linux. You can just install whatever you want on it. Expandable storage. Haven't heard of that in a console. You can plug in an SD card, or if you want to go the hard route, you can take it apart and upgrade the SSD in it. Support for USB devices. You can plug a mouse in, plug a keyboard in, plug a third-party controller in. You could plug in... Well, they haven't said if it works with USB drives, but it probably will. Yeah, you could plug in a microphone. I could record this video from a Steam Deck. There is nothing preventing me from replacing my laptop with a Steam Deck. Other than that, it would be really inconvenient because the Steam Deck doesn't have a built-in keyboard. And it can emulate other consoles. It can even emulate the Switch because there's two big Switch emulators. One of them is called Yuzu, and one of them has a really weird name that I think starts with an R. And they work. Both of them work, and both of them will run on the Steam Deck because it is just a Linux machine. For Linux fans, this is what I care about the most because I'm a Linux fan, and I don't plan on getting the Steam Deck, and I'm not really much of a gamer. It runs Linux. Enough said. It's an Arch-based distribution, and it comes with KDE pre-installed, so if you're in, by default it'll open like this fancy Steam thing, but there's like a button somewhere that'll take you out of it, and it'll put you in what they call desktop mode, which is just KDE. And I think that's awesome. The best thing ever, in fact. Big improvements to Proton. Right now, you cannot run every single Windows game that is on Steam on Linux. But the Steam Deck uses Proton to run the games on Linux. So if they improve Proton for the Steam Deck, they're going to improve it for everyone. And they've also said that they're going to be working with anti-cheat providers to make anti-cheat work right on Linux, which is really a big deal because the main reason a lot of games don't run on Linux is because of anti-cheat, and kernel-level anti-cheat is especially bad because you can't even run it in a VM at times, but anti-cheat in general is not playing nice with this compatibility layer because it's really annoying low-level stuff. All Windows games, I already said that. And it'll help popularize Linux. I mean, every time something in any way Linux related comes out, everyone's like, oh my god, it's going to popularize Linux. This is going to be the year of the Linux desktop. But like, really, this is a mainstream device that looks very promising even for people who are not Linux fans, and they're going to be using it, and a lot of the people aren't even going to realize it's not. I mean, they're not going to realize that it is Linux. I mean, technically the Switch runs Linux because it runs a modified version of Android, and Android is based on Linux, but that doesn't count. This is real Linux. This is based on Arch, and it's only got a few modifications to make it run properly on this thing, so they probably added stuff for the controllers to work as mice, and they've got their fancy Steam stuff. And I reckon, if you get this thing, and you're not a Linux fan, and you only plan on using it as a console, at some point, you're going to click on desktop mode just to try it out. And you might end up liking desktop mode. And once you find out, you can install that on your computer. Some people just might. Maybe. So, 2022 is the year of the Linux desktop. That's what they've said about every year since 2004, but I think probably not, but it could happen. PC users, if you're just a fan of PCs, this console, you may have noticed, has been talked about quite a bit on r/PCMR. And you might be ready to get out your mechanical keyboard and type an angry response, but this could actually benefit you. For this reason, it could be used as a PC. I mean, this thing is basically just a PC with a screen and a controller attached. It's like if you took a laptop and then you shrunk the screen, then you got rid of the keyboard, and then you grabbed a switch and you stuck it in there. It's a new form factor. And I think this could actually be a really good cross between a laptop and a phone, because a laptop, it's kind of big, and a phone, it's kind of small. So, this is a nice medium size, and I think that you could use the controllers as a good input device. The only thing is it doesn't have cellular data, so I don't think it could work as a good replacement for a phone, but I do think a device similar to this Steam Deck could be kind of cool for a phone replacer or iPad killer, which is what they've said about every tablet since 2012, but it could happen. So that's the Steam Deck. I think it's a really cool product. I think Valve has done an excellent job at showing off this product, and I'm really excited to see what people say about it when it actually comes out at the end of the year, because, well, mostly I care about it because it runs Linux, but it's good for other people. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Yes, there will be a programming tutorial this weekend. I have something planned for it. And remember that Steve Gates died of chungus.